When I first moved in here 3 years ago, it is fair to say I was as scared as all shit, as I didn't know what the fuck to expect. The walking freak show at the office was a no-help with a rude, brisk manner, mood changes as quickly as Melbourne weather, and an assumption that I already knew everything there was to know. How fucking wrong could she actually be? I have drawn the analogy before. Living here is like a cross between an episode of Prisoner, with its pecking order, and Kingwood country with its sheer stupidity and hilarity. After my first night, I wanted to escape, remembering then that my fishbowl with no air conditioning then but tinted windows really had nothing but a TV, not even computer, no internet, very basic cooking facilities. I felt that my life had regressed and couldn't help but wonder, is this all I have to show for myself after all these years? I was back with the cavemen, surrounded by dinosaurs dealing with rules like I was back at school, waiting for the cane for being a naughty boy, and the walking freak show from the office with her rule book scared me. In fact, everything about this fucking place scared me at first. Firstly, the massive-sized insect creatures that inhabit the facilities, particularly at night. My fellow inmates scared me because I didn't know anyone, and they all seemed like a bunch of life's leftovers, rejects, a different subspecies to me. I sound like a fucking snob. I guess I am. Possums running across my roof at night and fighting outside my door. I was in an episode of I'm Not a Celebrity, but get me out of here anyway. I quote Dame Judi Dench from that Marigold Hotel thingy. In order to survive, one must adapt, and that is exactly what I did over time. The fishbowl with air conditioning and tinted windows was made habitable, rather than its previous 1970s sunroom appearance that our grandparents used to play cards in. Technology and more modern attributes were added, as well as a coat of luxurious green paint. Everything must be green. Ultimately, Gertie, the garden, was built, and Bernie, the barbecue, added. And unfortunately, Wally, and later Wilma, the walkers, were to enter the fray as my physical health deteriorated. But nevertheless a godsend. Despite making myself more comfortable and secure, it does alter the fact the place is a circus of sorts. And I am part of it, not a clown. Certainly not trapeze. I didn't know where the fuck I fitted in. The journey has not always been full of laughter. On the prisoner side, we have the B. Smiths, the Doreens, the Lizzie Birdworths, Vinegar Tits, the Freak, and on the Kingswood country side, we have the Ted Bullpits and lots of Thelmas. What this boils down to is a veritable melting pot of people who have their own stories to tell, in particular how they came to be here. Interestingly, and being the perennial busybody and nosy Parker that I am, it is disappointing that very few ever talk about how they came to be here. We have absolute dumb-dumps, nuff-nuffs, tough guys and gals, rough guys and gals, fucking uglies, absolute spunks like me, intelligent, articulate people, again like me. It is like a witch's cauldron where we are all melted together to form a unique, dysfunctional community of sorts. A couple more downsides to life in the Caravan Park before I do my salesman pitch on the positives. People's cooking smells inescapable, some good. Most bad unless you can make delicious meals like me. Everyone has a barbecue, but they never seem to use them, whilst I use Bernie the barbecue almost daily. I think they are a lazy bunch of shits and opt for frozen-type meals, which tend to contradict what I just said. Dickhead. There's no privacy at all. Let's just say at some point, whether through our windows or in the bathrooms, we have all seen each other bits at some point, and I hasten to add, as a gay male. You knew and were expecting me to say this. I haven't seen much to excite me. Most of the cabins, but not all, have tiny bathrooms. Using a common bathroom every day is the absolute degrading pits, particularly when the hot water runs out. They are clean but old and infested with bug things. Now the good bits. And surprisingly there are some. It is a cheap way of living. Particularly for me, as I own my fishbowl with air conditioning with tinted windows, and I simply pay a site fee, my electricity, and an admin fee which covers rubbish collection. I always seem to have a lot of rubbish for one person. We are close to everything Chadstone, who here can afford it, I ask, Dandenong, more like it if you want to run the security risk, Waverly Gardens getting better. Lots of medical shit, coals, ELDI, AI food, and lots of buses, except Sundays. Apart from a walking freak show in the office, the few staff that remain are good and helpful. The grounds are normally well kept, not at the moment. There's a bug in that system. There is never any litter on the ground. It is simply unheard of, and the atmosphere, despite the occasional infighting, is generally peaceful. Despite being somewhat dysfunctional and very different people from idiots to geniuses like me, we are a community, and I have seen that community in action to help one another, so it's not altogether bad. Unfortunately, over my time here I have seen some sickness and death, and someone once said to me people come here to die. What a load of superstitious crap. Stay sane, stay safe, and keep the esky full.